Good morning and welcome to Career Launch Live. I am your host, Catherine McCord, and I have with me the job father himself, Foster Williams, today.
Live long and prosper.
How are you?
I am wonderful this morning. How's everybody? How's Catherine?
I'm wonderful. I have zero complaints about anything today. I am just in a
Yeah,
very positive mood.
yeah. Yeah, we've survived the storms and stuff here in Texas. So we are happy and there's sunshine out there. So, hey,
Oh,
it's
good.
that
Same
time of
here.
year.
It's beautiful here, man. I feel so very fortunate
Man, you
for
guys
what
in
we've got going
Florida.
on.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, South Florida. I mean, I guess we don't really have the worst weather. So
In about a month, I'll be coming there. So I'll give you a call.
you better. I would be
Yeah.
super mad if you didn't. You better
We've
give me a
had you in
shout.
the studio here. So now I've got to come to your state.
That's right. That's right. Got to hang out some. So today we're going to be helping the job seekers and talking a little bit more to them and also to the recruiters out there about, hey, just so you know, this is what the job seekers are needing. And anybody watching, please feel free to chime in. If you have questions, thoughts, concerns, we just want to say, hey, what's up? Whatever. Just
Yeah,
chime
that
in. We'd love
works.
to
Yeah.
hear from you. Yeah. So, Foster, tell us for the very few people out there that don't know you. Oh, and hi, Dan. Dan's saying hi. Hi, Dan Roth. How are
Hey, Dan
you?
Rob. Hey, Dan.
He said, here to foster a relationship. I love the play on words.
Awesome.
So, tell us about you, Foster. For those few people out there that don't actually know you, tell us about you.
Ooh, oh my goodness. Guys, I have been a recruiter for a number of years. I won't tell you how many years because then you'll say, oh my God, that's an old dude. But I was a recruiting director for Fortune 50 companies like IBM, Citigroup, companies of that size. Had spent a little time at Korn Ferry even. So the recruiting world is something that I have been a leader in for a number of years, and I cut my teeth in IT recruiting and technology recruiting early. But you expand. Catherine can tell you after years
Oh,
of
yeah.
experience, you kind of expand in other areas. But aerospace is my stuff. And what I do now, I created this career search network, and Catherine and I and other people like us, we let you guys know what you need to do in today's time in order to make the connections that you need to find the right type of opportunities.
That's right. And you have, I think, I don't even know how many shows you have anymore. Like I've kind of lost count. You you have the Job Father show, the Who You Know Job Networking show. I
Mhm.
don't know. There's 5 million of them. I don't know, but that's a couple of them, guys.
Yeah,
Check
we
them
get
out.
invited to be on things all the time, and our network, guys, is nationwide. So my face
Mm-hmm.
pops up on a lot of Zooms.
Same. I'm on Zooms constantly. You talk about
Yeah,
Zoom burnout, but I actually like it. It's all right. It's not
I
too
love
bad.
Zoom. I love Zoom. I'm not burned out on Zoom yet.
No, no, it makes me it's great. It
Yeah.
makes my life easier. I don't have to physically show up places. So
See?
let's on these job seekers. So the job market has been brutal for recruiters for the first time in a while.
Yes.
Job seekers are more savvy, which is good. Yay for that.
Yay.
Um, yay. And then, but also people are just not responding. Like they'll say that they're interested in a
Ghosting. Oh my
job.
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that because you deal even more on the candidate side than I do. So what
Uh-huh.
are you seeing on the candidate side?
Guys, on the candidate side, it's strange to say that there's ghosting on the candidate side, but it exists. Now, there's one thing that you guys want to avoid. There are some companies out there, especially in the technology realm. There's some companies out there that will call you and say, "Hey, what are you looking for? What do you do?" If you're a developer, certain things like that,
Mhm.
they will tell you that they will interview for you with companies. And so when companies
Don't do it.
when companies want to interview you, they put these experts in certain areas to get there, and then you take the job. You guys, can you hear how ridiculous that is?
That
When
is
you show
shady.
up and you don't know what you interviewed with, and
Yeah,
this is the
that's
craziest thing that I've heard going. And
I haven't
I
heard
had to
that
break.
one. That's I just dropped my water. That's new to me.
Yeah,
What? How are you
yeah.
going to interview for somebody else? That makes zero sense.
That makes zero sense.
That's weirder than that guy I had that came in with his mommy. Literally called her his mommy too. That's not my term.
Oh, wow.
Came in and sat down for an interview with his mother.
Oh, I was did you tell Michaela about that?
I did. She said, send him my way. He needs a lot of help.
He needs a lot of help.
For those of you that don't know, Michaela was our resident psychology expert. She was on the first year of the show, and still does behind the scenes work for us and helps us prepare. But she is no longer on set with us, as she is starting her own practice and building up her own clientele.
And she should, yeah.
And she should. Super proud of her on that. Side note, super, super proud of her.
She's a Baylor Bear, sick and bear.
She went to school at Tarleton. That's what she does.
I thought Tarleton. She was a Baylor Bear. See how I forget, guys? I told y'all that I didn't want to tell you how many years I've been doing this.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the weird stuff. Because I feel like people don't realize some of the things that can be really super off-putting to people on the other side of the desk, right? So first of all, recruiters, I'm going to talk to you guys first. Don't be weird and right off the bat, dive into real personal stuff about the person or demand to know their salary expectations right off the bat. That's awkward. Get to know them first. I've seen recruiters do that. They just immediately insist on knowing. And job seekers don't do that either. At the beginning of the interview, don't right off the bat demand to know what the salary is. Learn a little bit more about it, learn a little bit more about the opportunity, and then ask if they don't tell you. Yeah, don't be weird. That's just such an awkward
I've got some input on that one if you'll let me.
Yeah, please.
Guys, here's what we need to do. My number one famous word is relationship. So if Trevor Houston, he's laughing at me if he's watching. Guys, here's the deal. Exactly what Catherine just said. Get to know us. Now, when what we say, maybe agencies or third-party companies call you representing a company, get to know those guys. Find out what their relationship is with that hiring manager. There's a lot of fishing, what we call fishing, going on out there. If a person is not, if they cannot convince you that they have a relationship with that company, I mean a relationship, not just somebody that you call every quarter.
Right.
But there are a number of things that these companies will be able to tell you about some of the things that they've done while working with this company over time, people, places, and things. They will convince you, hey, I've got a relationship with this company. If this company that's calling you does not have that relationship, if they're not able to impress you, they got this relationship, you do not want to do business with them.
100% on that. And here's some things, guys, to elaborate on that. Here's some things that you should be hearing. Information about their last couple of placements. They should be referencing that. They should be talking to you about their interpersonal relationships and what they personally like about the people with whom you will be interviewing. That's huge. They should be telling you what they like. They should be telling you intimate details about the company. I start off every single call because if you don't know, I run a recruiting agency. It's one of my 3 businesses. And I, right off the bat, myself and anybody who interviews for me, we start off by telling you about the company, about the people, and about the position.
Absolutely. That's it right there. Guys, and honestly, if a recruiter has a real good, because I, at times, I'm a recruiter because I've been one for 10,000 years.
A million years.
The Mesozoic era for some of you.
The guy who invented the tire or the wheel, Foster recruited him.
I probably did. So, guys, that relationship factor is it. Now, when they call you, if Foster calls you, and I have a number of companies that I'm very, very consistently working with. I have friends that are out of the network. I help them get their job there at the company. So I have a relationship. I'm getting close. Okay. That was getting scary. Guys, the people with the relationships, you won't have to ask them a lot of questions. They will be able to convince you that they have, and you will feel in your spirit that, hey, this is a company here that you can get questions asked, because in job seekers. Now, I want you to listen to me. Come on, son. Now, Listen, if you are talking with someone about a company, you should have questions through that
Yes.
conversation. There should be many things. Job search is not ABC 1, 2, 3. It's not
No.
mechanical, guys. We are not mechanical. We are people, and
Hmm.
each one of us have people dynamics in our lives. And there's things that we need to know when we're talking to a company or we're talking to an agency. I know that I don't like that word agency,
I
but
don't either. I
yeah,
just I don't know, but it's funny. People tease me because I'm proud of the badge headhunter. I love it, and most recruiters don't.
most recruiters don't.
They do not, but I love it. I love it. I tell people I get to steal for a living because I take an employee from over here and put him over here. I'm like Robin Hood, I think, but that's just in my own mind. Um, but he's absolutely right. Form bonds, and by the way, relationships with recruiters like myself and others that function as I do, and like
Connect
Foster,
with me
definitely
on
Foster. Everybody
LinkedIn.
should know Foster. Uh, they will find ways to help you, even if they
Right.
don't have an open role for you. If they like you, they
That's
will
right.
make introductions for you. I do it all the time. If I
That
talk
is
to a
a
candidate,
relationship.
relationships, uh, just reach out to them periodically, have a conversation. I was talking to Janice Downey again earlier, who's been on the show,
Okay.
who's a candidate of mine, and a wonderful lady, and she's just touching base. We
Mhm.
talk about once every month or two just to say, hey, how's it going? What's to do with you? We offer each other advice, kind of swap information, and it's wonderful. It's a really cool, very positive relationship.
Mhm.
Relationship.
I love it.
So the other thing, so on to that point, cultivating relationships can help you cut through so much BS, which is the title of our episode today, cutting through the BS and the job job search process and with recruiters. So one thing that's my pet peeve, and you and I have talked about this before, Foster, are those recruiters who hide compensation information.
Mhm.
I don't like it. That makes me super grumpy when I see that.
Mhm.
I get so on my soapbox about this. And let me just put this out there. There is never, ever a legitimate reason for someone to hide a compensation range from you.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
that's very true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no real reason to do it. There's just not. So now there's different ways to present it. They can maybe wait till they're on the phone call with you, but by the end of your first phone call, they should be telling you that kind of
We
information.
should. That's
If they
qualifying
give
kind of
you
stuff. Yeah.
some kind of runaround, right? And they're telling you, oh, well, we just want to know what you want. And then we'll see later. They're either too lazy to have come up with a compensation plan,
Okay.
which you
Okay.
don't want. You
Okay.
don't want to deal with that company, or they're going to try to lowball you.
That was what I was waiting to hear. I knew you were
Yeah,
going to say
they
that.
are
Yeah.
going to lowball the hell out of you. So,
And they
Foster,
know that they're not paying.
it's not good. What are some of the ways that they can cut through the BS and just address it head on with the company?
Mhm.
And keep that and let the candidate stay in charge of what's going on. What are some of your
Right.
tips?
Well, guys, exactly what she's saying. If I've got to be sneaky with that, is because I probably know that I'm not paying you enough, or
Mm-hmm.
I have been a recruiter. Now, okay, Catherine, I'm gonna get a little trouble when I say this. Catherine and I have been recruiting for a while, so there's some intangible things that we've picked up along the process,
Mm-hmm.
along doing our job. Now, there are certain conversations that you end that you just know that this recruiter or this hiring manager knows that they're probably not going to be paying what you should be seeing,
Yeah.
and they will try to tell you all sorts of things to get you excited about that company and all this stuff. And if you work with us, you'll be able to put crazy things on your resume. Why in the world would you be talking to me about hiring me and talking about the resume?
Yeah.
Do you think
That's
I'm not
so
going to
you're
be there
so
long
you're
enough?
yeah,
Yeah.
you're planning for me to leave. That's an odd way to start a
And
relationship.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard that,
Oh
especially in
yeah.
a situation where that
Oh yeah.
we kind of know that salary is not going to be enough. I do
Yeah.
not get in those situations in those companies. I have the honor of turning down some work with companies because they're simply, Foster, we want to post a job or we want you to find us somebody, but here's the salary. And I've been recruiting
It's
long
like,
enough. I know
nah.
salary is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I will say if a salary is low, but they're offering good equity options
Mhm.
or they're offering just like fully paid benefits or something like
Right.
that
Right.
I can work with because
Mhm.
or if it's fully remote and some of those other things, okay, cool. Now
Right.
we can
Yeah.
still have a conversation and I can talk to people, but I make sure that they understand that up front.
Right.
And first of all, whenever I message a candidate or post a job, anything like that, I
Mm-hmm.
always put the compensation information right there. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to know before we ever talk what the compensation range is, the benefits, all of that. Bam, right there.
I have a
And
question for you, Catherine.
yeah,
Are you seeing sign-on bonuses? It seemed like Scotty beamed sign-on
yes.
bonuses up, and over a period of time, I didn't see so many of them. So,
Yeah, for
what
the
are you
longest,
seeing,
no.
Catherine?
But right now, you're correct. For the longest time, absolutely not. I was not seeing them except
Hmm.
for like executives, that type of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
But now, because the job market is so saturated with terrific candidates and candidates are educated and candidates are ghosting people, they're getting nervous. And don't ghost people just to play a game. By the way, I'm just going to throw
No
that on out there. Don't
ghosting.
do
I
that.
know it was a good movie, but don't
And
go.
don't apply if you're not serious about the role.
Yeah.
But because of that, yeah, there is an upswing in sign-on bonuses. And by the way, guys, that's something you can negotiate. If they're not outright offering it, and let's say the salary is a teeny bit low for you, ask for a sign-on bonus. Now, keep in
Mhm.
mind, sign-on bonuses are not necessarily something that you get day one. Okay. A sign-on bonus can be something that you get 90 days in. That's
Yeah.
very, very normal. It is also very, very normal for them to require you to stay with them for at least a year, or you have to pay part of it back.
Hmm.
That's very normal. Okay. So when you're negotiating this, just keep those things in mind. Those are standard factors in
Right.
negotiating a sign-on bonus. But yeah, they're definitely picking up. Another thing that I am telling every small business, because I specialize in my little startups. I love my startups. I love my growth stage companies.
I do too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Opportunity. Oh, yeah.
they're awesome. And you have more impact. I always tell people, man, aim for those. Aim for those. And you're actually less likely to experience discrimination of any kind
True.
in a startup. Yeah, it's very, very true. So, so what was I going with that? Oh yeah. So one thing I tell them is they have to have benefits. They have to. So let's
That's
say
an indicator.
you have to, and some kind of option. Now, if you're real small, you may not have the best benefit package in the whole
Right.
world, but
Right.
get something. Get like have Aflac. By the way, guys, here's a tip for you. Aflac can get you dental, vision, and life for
Yeah.
dirt cheap. And if you're an employer, you don't pay zilch. You, in fact, you get a tax write-off for allowing them to come in.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's my promo. There you go, Aflac. This is my this is my
Duh.
promo for you. And if anybody needs a good Aflac agent, I happen to know a superb one. So please reach out to me. I will put you in contact, whether you're an employer or an individual. For health benefits, at least get like direct primary care, concierge medicine, something like that that's relatively inexpensive, and get that for your employees if you're small. There's no reason. My premium for I do direct primary care. In fact, I've had my doctor on the show, $89 a month, and I can get blood work done, EKGs, all of that wrapped up in there. Basically, the only thing it doesn't cover is like if I were to get cancer or go to the ER, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. I mean, everything else, I'm good. And so
Mm-hmm.
at least do something like that. We have a comment. I recently accepted an interview without knowing the salary. Won't make that mistake again. Offered the position 20,000 less than what I was making and needed to pay
Uh-huh.
for full benefits. Yee.
Uh-huh. Yeah, hey, you need to be talking about that salary. That needs to be something initial in that initial
Yes.
conversation. Now, yeah,
Yes.
do get to know me a little bit before you get to that salary thing.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit because you're developing a relationship
Relationship.
and an interest in what the company is looking to do
Yes.
related to what you like, what your passions are, and what your past experience has been.
100%. Now, Susan, I also want to say this. It is not the responsibility of the company to consider your past pay. That does not matter. What they're there to do is to say, this is what the position is worth to us. Now, they should care about fair market value and that type of thing. But for instance, I've had candidates come in that were superb at what they did and had particularly lucrative positions before, just oddly high pay for their position. And they
Mm-hmm.
wanted that or better. Well, that's not necessarily reasonable because they were at the top of their pay range, basically making actually way more than they really should have been.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that was your case, Susan, but my point is it is not the responsibility of that company to consider your past pay. That's not their
Mm-hmm.
job. If they offered you something reasonable, for the position, good on them. However, where they did mess up is that they should have let you know that pay range up front. That was their mistake. And that was rude. Yeah, that was not cool. But that's not their job.
We hire confident employees, and be confident enough, guys. If they don't take the reins on that, you ask, Susan. Don't be timid to ask, okay, what is this position paying? We need to establish what we're talking about here in the very beginning, because it sounds very exciting to me, but I've got to make sure that my bills are paid at my family, at my house. And so sometimes we need to lead that conversation, because these recruiters will get some, not all my recruiting brethren and sister and do this, but guys, we need to get some things figured out. Yes. So we don't waste our time anymore.
100%, and on both sides, you gotta cut through the BS, right? And I mean, and so the other thing I want to kind of address too is you have the bait and switch. That's one of my pet peeves.
Oh,
the bait and switch is they hook you in, telling you about one position that's just so great, and then offer you something lesser for lesser money, or even worse, they advertise the job one way and then add on duties later, like immediately after. Like you come on day one and now it's, now you have to do this, 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 and this too. And you're going, whoa.
I don't know why companies do that. Retention is very important, guys. And I don't know why companies would even consider doing something.
But they do it all the time.
They do it all the time.
All the time.
We recruiters get happy because sometimes we get to hire you away from them.
Yes, that's where I come in. But, or Foster comes in. So but on that, and so I've had candidates ask me, how do I keep that from happening? Is there a way to do it? Sort of. So there are things that you can do to help, but you can't ultimately foreshadow and see what's going to happen and see into the future. So my number one piece of advice with that is ask the questions about day to day, what your job is going to look like. Mm-hmm. And then, get specific, go, okay, so, mornings. So this is kind of the flow of the day, kind of really get in there. The other one is reach out to other people that either do that job currently or work immediately connected to that job, because they'll tell you what's really up. Find them on LinkedIn, ask for their email, that kind of thing, find their email and reach out to them and say, hey, I'm in the interview process for this job. I'm super excited about it. Just kind of wanted to get your take on the day-to-day. And you would be surprised how often they will really, and they're not even trying to tattle on their company, but they will just tell you what's really going on.
And a lot of times it's not what people say, but it's how they say it.
That's right. That's right. And let them know, and make it real clear that this is just a friendly chat, just a, hey, how you doing kind of conversation, just reaching out to meet you. Very excited about this. Just wanted to kind of, meet and greet, and you'll get a lot more information out of them than you think. Yeah. So kind of the last thing I want to touch on with you, because we're kind of coming to the close of your segment in about 7 minutes here. And it doesn't seem that long, right? It doesn't seem like we've been talking.
You and I have those personalities where we can talk forever. We do just that when I call you or you call me on the phone.
I know, it just goes and goes and goes. Mm-hmm. I do. I always block out an extra half hour if I know that you and I are going to be talking. I'm let's just block it out. That way we just know it's okay.
I know.
But I love it. I love those kind of conversations. So kind of another subject I really wanted to touch on is getting to the hiring team, because that's tough for job seekers right now, right? Mm-hmm. To be able to form the relationship, first you got to get in touch with them, right? And sometimes that's tough. Mm-hmm. It's tough to get hold of that hiring team. So one of my tips is, other than LinkedIn, which is super obvious, but sometimes people don't reply, call up the HR department, get a receptionist or somebody like that, and say, hey, I'm looking to interview for this position. I was just wondering if I could have a contact email to reach out to them real quick. Mm-hmm. You would be surprised. Don't ask for a phone number. You won't get that. But an email. They're not going to
answer their phone anyway.
They're not going to answer it. Yeah, they're not going to answer it anyway. But an email you can get. Right. And then you can reach out personally and really start to get to know them. What are your other tips for getting through and actually being able to speak to someone on the hiring team?
Guys, first things first, and this is what I run across, probably the thing that I run across with people, because all I do is make connections. I am a net weaver. So I'm not a coach, but I connect you to the people, places, and things that make sense. It's got to be relevant, guys. What I would
Yeah.
like to ask job seekers to stop doing is panicking in the job search and
Mm.
sending your resumes out to many, many companies.
Yeah.
And you have not really read the job description. If you read a job description and you know what that company does, you can kind of figure out what their pain is. And you answer
Yes.
that pain in that particular resume. Those jobs that you guys get really, really excited about, you get excited because you know that you've had that experience. And that's the experience that you need to be sharing with these folks, because those are the folks that Catherine and I and other recruiters are going to call, and
Yeah.
we're going to want to investigate a little bit more, because what we're doing, guys, this is recruiters, what we're doing, we hopefully have talked and we have a relationship.
Relationship.
4 syllables, relationship with that hiring manager. We know what that hiring manager is looking to hire, even outside of what may be on that job description. So if we
Right.
talk to you and we glean these things that the hiring manager is looking for, our next job is to pass you along to the hiring manager. Well, we got to sell. We got to sell that hiring manager on calling you and that kind of thing.
That's
So,
right.
guys, this is why just sending the resumes out blindly to companies and say, "Oh, I
Doesn't
can do that
work.
job. I'm going to send you." That's probably the number one frustration in job search.
Mm-hmm.
We hear so
I
much
would
about
agree.
ghosting. They didn't call me back. Oh my God. Is there a reason really that they didn't call you back?
There
What
might
about
be.
what we're doing on our side of the fence?
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And sometimes companies just don't call you back. And that's super shitty, honestly. I mean, just to put it out there, that is not cool.
Yeah.
Um, and shame on those companies that do that. But other times, maybe you did something real weird and you're just not really aware. So
Okay.
be
So what do you
careful.
do when you get a resume that's not even anywhere close to what you're looking for? What do you do with that resume?
Reject it.
There it goes. We've
Yeah.
got this X button. We've got this
Yeah.
delete
I just go
button
reject
on
and
our
it sends you
resume.
an email and says, no, thank you. Do
Yeah.
not want.
Yeah.
Please go on. It's like swiping left. Like I feel like I'm on an app whenever like I'm like one of those apps. You just swipe left, do not want. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just keep on going. But
Into
I will say
oblivion
this
you
too.
go.
I don't look for necessarily 100% match. That's not what I'm
Right.
looking for.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just looking for someone who obviously paid enough attention to know that they are somewhat like that there's some kind of alignment. And then
Mhm.
I'm glad to have at least some kind of a conversation with you.
There
And then
is
if somebody
one.
also takes that extra step and
Yeah.
reaches out to me directly, because I'm easy to find. I am
Yeah.
real easy to find,
Real easy. We
real
make
easy.
it
And I
that way.
respond.
Yeah.
And I respond.
And
If
I
somebody
do
reaches
too.
out to me, they get an interview
I do too.
because
I've only
they,
seen one. I've only
yeah.
seen 100% match in my life. And it
Oh, yeah.
wasn't in all of my years. We won't talk about how many years um, of my recruiting experience. And that is because the hiring manager worked with the guy before, knew the guy,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy came from a competition company. And
Oh, yeah.
they knew each other. And the hiring manager
Yeah.
didn't even know that his own friend was looking for a job. So it really wasn't 100% when you're looking at it from a mechanical kind of thing. It
Right.
really wasn't 100% fit, but it was pretty close.
The closest I've had two, and one of them you would have by the resume you never would have known, but when
Mhm.
you had the conversation. So recruiters, this is on you too. Build those relationships. Get to know these folks so that you could stop and go, wait a minute, I know who could do this. And I will say this, I have hired dozens, plural, of recruiters over the years. Two had any kind of experience.
Mhm.
Two. Everyone else I trained because they had
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
right personality. And it's a personality thing.
Everybody
So
does it different in their house.
yeah, you got to show people your personality. They're like, well, I can't do that on the resume. No kidding. So get that email, like we talked about earlier, by calling up the HR department or calling up the company and asking for an email, or reach out on LinkedIn and let them know what's up. Let them see what's going on. Let them see the real you and what you can do. I mean, I'm confident. I just walk into an interview and go, I can do it. Don't worry about it. I got you. you know? And so when
Yeah.
you can show that, that goes so far. And I want to thank you, Foster, for coming on. Real quick, tell
Wow.
everybody how they can find you. I did drop his LinkedIn profile into the comments, by the way,
Right.
guys. But how else can they find you?
Guys, I will tell you my email address. It is foster.williams62@gmail.com. And my number is 214-728-6930. Now, that's kind of a rarity anymore. People like Catherine and I understand. But what I do, guys, is connect you with people, places, and things. I've been a recruiter long enough. I can tell you who's going to hire you and who's not. And so,
Yes.
guys, that's what Catherine and I specialize in. God has blessed us to be able to do these things. And
Yes.
please connect with me on LinkedIn. And hey,
Do.
call me if you, call me
And
if you want to.
check you out today on the Who You Know Job Networking Show
Thank you.
every
Thank you. Now,
Wednesday.
guys, on LinkedIn Live, every day at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time, because I believe Catherine is Eastern Standard Time.
That's right. But it's Central. It's 4 o'clock
It's
for me,
Central
3 o'clock
Standard
Central Time. Definitely check out the Who You Know Job Networking Show. We push it every week on this show. You definitely got to check them out if you're looking for a job. They're amazing, wonderful human beings. Every single one of those guys will respond to you. Thank you so much again, Foster, and have a wonderful day. I'll
Thank
talk
you
to you
guys
soon,
for
buddy.
having me. It's my blessing.
Thank you. And with that, I'm very excited to bring on our new guest. It was so great to see Foster. I just want to say that real quick. It's been a while since he's been on the show, but man, is it always amazing to have him on. Love him to death. He's one of our favorite alumni. So next, we're going to bring on a new guest. Very excited to have him. You may recognize him from his own LinkedIn lives and posts. Kevin Logan, how are you today?
I am doing well. I don't know how I'm gonna follow Foster here, but I'm gonna speak out of this mouth and see what happens.
He's one of those guests that I think people are always like, "Why did you put me after him? Can't I go first? Come on, like really? Like that's what I gotta follow."
Yeah, you're not gonna get that dearth of experience here, guys, but I'll do my best.
But you got a lot of stuff to say, which is important.
Oh, I mean, I've always got stuff to say. Again, if you see my content, no problem moving this thing right here. So,
yeah, you're gonna say something about something. 100%.
There you go.
So one thing that I want to touch on that Foster really stressed was that relationship building. And that's something that you do very, very well. So I've watched your content and I want to put this out there because this is something that I speak about on the show all the time, that it's not just what you message to people, but posting on their commenting on their posts, engaging with other people, that type of thing, really starting a conversation publicly, which by the way, guys, also showcases you to employers because they can see all of that on your LinkedIn, believe it or not.
Absolutely.
So Kevin, talk to us a little bit about that and how that's helped you grow professionally.
It's so funny. I was literally, you must have heard my conversation. I was literally having this conversation earlier. And for job seekers, people that are not like me, that don't wake up and create content daily, your best content is the comments.
Say that again, just so they get it real good.
Your best content is your comment.
Yes.
So don't think about content if you see what I do. Think about content is just you putting your, I don't like the word, but your level of expertise, your authority in your industry out there for somebody to like, know, and trust. That's all I'm doing. It's all marketing. So all my content, all the creation is to like, know, and trust, to get a community to do that for me. And so that's the same for you. The reason why you are creating content, maybe you are, but the reason why you're more so and more likely commenting is to be visible. And not only to be visible, but to be effective, to put effective comments. Don't just put thanks for the share. I appreciate that if in whatever it is that you're commenting on, there's probably a point, a message. React to the message. If there's a question, answer the question. But make sure it's a deliberate and intentional way for you to expound on what's happening in this brain. And don't just put bland things. Really put your own authentic personality out there. If there's something different about you, don't be afraid to be different.
100%. Embrace it and run with that. I tell people that all the time, just run as fast as you can. Because let me tell you, I got surprised when because I thought, professional forum, people don't want to know anything about you, that kind of thing. And that could not have been further from the truth. So I started diving in, and I just said, I was like, okay, so here's who I am. I'm a bipolar business owner and I've done this, and this. I am. And like, and this is how it helps me. And this is how it helps me. Like my mania is my superpower. When I get that way, man, nobody can work like I can. I'm a beast. And I just owned it. And I had hundreds of people message me, connect with me, comments on that. It was amazing. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I've had people since then tag me in all kinds of different things. I made relationships that turned into real business interactions, just being that vulnerable and talking about it. I talk about diversity in hiring a lot, and true diversity. So people think that only applies to race or gender, but it's ageism, it's sexual preference, it's neurodiversity. So people like myself, people with ADHD, people with autism, and talking about how important that is, because that's who I am and that's what matters to me. And from that, I get great connections and great business opportunities. So very much to your point, those comments, those little interactions go a long way. Really, really long way. And it helps recruiters and hiring persons to know who you are, right? Because that's the whole thing. They need to know who you are. And it really, really helps.
So just like you and Foster were just talking about, right? What did you guys say at the end of it? You will interview every single candidate that is intentional about reaching out to you. So if a candidate makes themselves known, me too, by the way, if a candidate makes themselves known to me, if they do the work that I don't have to do, you get in front of me and you give me all the information I need. Well, you just made my job easy.
Yeah.
So hell yeah, I'm picking up the phone and calling you.
100%.
Are you kidding me?
You made my life easy, and you put it out there and you showed excitement. Oh, we're going to talk.
Yeah.
We're going to talk. And even if you're not the right match for this, I will help you I will put you in contact. I will tag you in somebody else's post about a job and recommend you something.
And then to the second piece you guys were talking about, those comments, we're going to notice those too. So like Catherine was talking earlier, now I know exactly who I need for this role. I'm like, I know who, because you know what? We've been commenting, we've been communicating. I saw what your role is, and I understand what your expertise is, because we've been communicating, whether you didn't realize it or not. We have.
Right. 100%.
And that also goes to LinkedIn lurkers. One of the biggest things, things that people need to recognize is 99% of people do not engage on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, excuse me. It's now changed. 98% of people do not engage on LinkedIn. So there's 2% of people that do. Everybody else is lurking, and trust me, they are.
And they pay attention.
And they pay attention. I've gotten 5 jobs in the last 8 months of creating content on LinkedIn. And all 5, not a one of them had ever commented or liked the post. I was like, so my first question is like, how did you find me and why do you want me? And they were like, oh, I've been following you for a long time. I was like, looking back, like, interesting.
Okay.
So to that point, you never know. Not only do you never know, I guarantee you people are watching. People are paying attention. People are cataloging.
100%.
I remember I'm paying attention. Whenever I see somebody, then I'm like, ooh, that was intriguing. That's in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Now you're in the back of my mind.
I pulled a candidate off of one of your posts, actually, that I reached out to about a role. Yeah. And reached out, and it didn't quite work out, but we're still in contact. Might find something later. And I know people, the Who You Know Job Networking Show, of which Foster is a member and a host. They've had people hired out of their comments.
Yeah,
they were saying intelligent things and then got an interview and got hired. It happens. People always think I'm kidding about that. And I'm going, no, it happens in real life. I know multiple people this has happened to.
I mean, I don't say this in a way to make it seem like it's easy. That is not why I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but it's to say that you have to think outside the box and then use unique whatever is unique to you. However, whatever communication form is best for you. If it's video, double down on video. If it's voice, get on Clubhouse. If it's this, start doing like whatever it is, figure out what it is for you and then double down. So this week I saw that a young lady had posted about the dream company she wanted to work for. And she just posted about it. And she talked about all the reasons why she is the candidate they need. And then, they got in her comment section. And then within a week, she is in the job, started her job.
That's amazing.
Yesterday. So after a week, again, not to say everybody go post, no. But what you can tell is she took time. She was patient. She researched. She had put in the effort. She had already been creating content for a while. She had a great size audience. And I guarantee the reason why they found her is because those first, second, and third degree connections that were commenting on her posts, it improved her awareness.
Yes.
So now they knew that she existed. And then on top of that, then they could go back to her activity and they could go see what she's been doing.
Yep.
Which is what Kevin the recruiter does.
And they do.
Oh, please believe I do.
Yeah, they do. We all check you. Let me tell you, that is the first criminal background check that any candidate of mine gets. Social media. I'm going to check out your Facebook. I'm going to check out your Instagram. I'm going to check out your LinkedIn. I'm going to stalk you a little bit. Here's why. Because it tells me more about you and it helps me to understand you. And it also helps me to find red flags. For instance, if you show yourself and you're out with your friends, and I can tell you're probably at a bar, no problem. However, if your profile picture and then every single picture of you after that is you with a drink in your hands, now I'm a little worried. You know, what? Ooh,
so that's the, I'll be honest, that's the place where I get a little nervous about social media, only because I know me and I know the way I use social media, and I rarely use it if it's not LinkedIn. So if you go to my Instagram right now, you might see a lot of half-naked pictures of Kevin. And then you might,
Don't do that, folks. We're not saying go find Kevin.
No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is, but that doesn't in any way, shape, or form tell the story of Kevin, right?
Oh, no. And I do want to clarify. So stuff like, okay, so I live in a beach town, right? Obviously, you're going to have people around here in like bikinis and stuff.
There you go.
No worries there. That's not what, but for instance, I found a candidate who put their profile picture as out at a bar, and then about 3 pictures down had a picture of them holding a joint in a state where it's not legal, not in Colorado.
Probably not. You know.
Probably not too smart. And for me, that was the stupidity test. It was the stupidity test. It was like, it's not so much what you're doing; it's that really, come on.
There has to be some maturity involved, and you have to have some agency and think for yourself.
Yeah, you need to think to yourself, I'm searching for a job. How should I be presenting myself? Also, on your LinkedIn picture, don't put weird stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen some guys that are shirtless and it's not like gym professionals. That's fine. Like if you work for a gym, fine, whatever. But they're shirtless in their LinkedIn profession and they're in like sales or IT, and I'm going, okay, why?
Maybe
why
it works. Because maybe they get sales.
Maybe, but I just want to put out there, it can be off-putting for a job, job search. I will still call you. I'm going to put that out there. I'll still call you because ultimately,
because I want to know why. I want to know.
I called a girl not long ago, and like her LinkedIn picture was like, it was just boobs. Like I'm just going to put that, like, it was just, that's all it was. It was like that South Park.
I've seen that.
It was like that South Park representation of Beth about the bounty hunter. Like it was like that. And I was like, you know what? She's in sales. All right, let's have a conversation, lady. Maybe, you know what? Let's do it. And I forwarded her on and I submitted her, not going to lie. But
look,
so it's not that kind of thing.
The Kardashians didn't teach you.
Right. That's it. 100%. It works. But I just want to say, but be whatever message you're trying to send, but those people, she was trying to send a particular message.
Yes.
Send whatever message you want. Make that it. Make sure that your LinkedIn profile sends the message that you want. I've seen people that have pictures of them with their kids. You know what? Some people say don't. If your family is that important to you and they're your number one priority, put it on out there. Why the heck not? You know, I mean, I would be careful doing that in a job search because it can make people think that you're going to be one of those people that calls in every 5 seconds for your kids. But if that's really your priority, speak who you are and just roll with it. The right company will be excited about it.
See, I think those are, to be quite honest, Catherine, I hope and feel like those are the kind of, and I feel like that's a misnomer that I think are getting put down a lot more lately.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
Yeah, if you go on LinkedIn, you're going to see my son, Julius. And that's because he's here with me right now all day, every day. And that's my life.
Yep.
And, and you know, with the last 6 months for anybody out there that does in fact decide to create content or start commenting, what you find over time, guys, is you find your voice. If you haven't ever engaged in just putting your thoughts out there, it's, you know, so before I was able to do this, a lot of what I did was seek validation. through creating content and commenting and just putting my own thoughts and my authentic self out there, I've come to find out who Kevin was. And then you find your voice, and then you can start to do things differently in your own way. And so I personally am at a place where I'm going to put whatever I put out there, and it's going to attract my tribe. And anybody else who doesn't care, I don't care either.
Oh, well.
They didn't want to work with you anyways.
I had somebody recently tell me it shouldn't matter, or you shouldn't put something out that's so strong about the importance of hiring minorities and all this. I said, why? I don't want to do business with those other people.
Yeah,
I don't want to have them as clients. I don't want to have them as candidates. They can get away from me. And the same thing is true for families. So I want to put this out there. So I brought that up. It is something to consider. It is something to consider. However, I think it's really beautiful that especially during COVID, we've come to embrace family life even more. I think that's one of the perks that kind of came out of COVID. You know, there's always a silver lining. Yes. And people have gotten a lot more human about these kind of things, and that you might have kids like run through a screen. Now, I do tell people like that have kids that come on the show, I'm like, look here, if your kid joins the show, I'm going to start talking to them. Okay. They're going to have to say some stuff on screen. I'm just going to warn you right now. They're welcome, but they're going to have to talk. Entertainment purposes. Just for entertainment purposes. We're going to have to talk to this kid. But so you have to embrace it. You have to embrace the humanity. I've had my cat just walk across the screen, like mid presentation. And I'm like, well, there you go. That was my cat. That was Livy. Glad you got to meet her. That's it. And I like that people are embracing this. And one thing I want to address that I'm sure you have very strong opinions about is I'm tired of the discrimination against parents in the hiring process. Oh, yes. It's irritating to me. Now, I will say this. During your interview, I think it's perfectly fine to mention your kids. I think that's, they're part of your life. Definitely, when you get to the get to know you stage, definitely talk about them. Don't bring them up every time you're asked a question, though. That's a little weird. Don't do that. Keep focused on what you're actually supposed to be talking about. But I like seeing things like, companies having pumping rooms for women or nursing rooms for mothers. I like seeing dads getting time off. Dad's getting paternity leave. Dad's getting my dad was my stay-at-home parent.
I need paternity leave, guys, right now. I need more of it. Right? No. Oh my gosh, I could harp on this.
Seriously. Dads want to be part of things too. What this whole idea that is just the woman. Like I said, my dad was my stay-at-home parent. So I've been conscious of this since I was a little child. There you go. And my mom was phenomenal. And I've talked about her a dozen times on this show too.
I'm the cleaner.
Oh yeah.
I do it. Yeah. It's 2021, guys.
Yeah, come on. Except that everybody's going to help out. Okay, that's just how it is.
No, but to that point, that's what the pandemic did was it gave us a shared pain point. Mm-hmm. Everyone dealing with the same thing at once. And guess what? You couldn't do? Run away. You couldn't find out a babysitter. You couldn't put money to it and just richly put it away. No, rich people, you had to deal with it too. So here's what happened. I used to work at Amazon, and one day a week I would have my son with me, and I would get on these calls, and I would hear it. I'd hear it from people like, I'd be like, oh, so I have my son, and they'd be like, that's okay. But I'd hear the, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. In the last 8 months, I'm on call. So I do VP and director searches for some pretty big people, and I talk to some people that we know are in the news. And when I start I start every conversation the same way, I have a little gregarious, crazy person that's more than likely going to enter our conversation. I'm letting you know this because it's going to happen, and not one person has flinched. And if you do, that tells me a hell of a lot about you. And you're not the candidate for me anyway. So
100%.
And here's why. Because we are people, and we always have been. And I guess what the pandemic's shown you is that what we do is when we get to the office, we don't just turn off the rest of our life. We have to come to the office with our whole selves. That means our families. And so if my son is sick, there are reasons, people, and there are excuses. But reasons matter. For the record.
They do.
And when you have a family, there are a lot of reasons why you have to do other things.
Yes.
And you the VP, the president, the CEO, the whatever, because you can throw money or do other things or have other options, you don't have to deal with it as much as folks that don't have that option.
Right.
Is what I want to say.
Right. Well, and just that, and I just and I just want to say too that it's not just about do you have, although to your point, the money thing is a problem and people do tend to forget, not everybody has the money.
Yes.
But what about the people that just want to be with their kid?
Thank you. And I love my son, for the record.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Side note, so I had an experience where I had a whole recruiting team that I was responsible for. And one day the school shut down. I forget, some completely random, nobody was expecting it. And it was going to be the next day and everybody's like, oh shit, what are we going to do? We're all going to have our kids. And I go, bring them.
Right.
And they were like, what? And I said, yeah, bring them on in. Let's do this. Yeah. So we set up like a little play area for them. They had little coloring stations. But what was really funny was how a lot of them started taking interest in what their parents were doing. Yep. One of the little girls goes, Mommy, I didn't know you help people find jobs. That's so cool. And was so excited. Another one came and sat with me. I've actually talked about him a lot on the show. His name's AJ. My friend and former employee is Sharika, her son. 5 years old, came and sat down and started learning how to manage people and learning how to do reports. This little 5-year-old child.
I believe it.
I actually left him in charge of my staff once. This little 5-year-old boy, called me up and gave me a full-on report of everything everyone was doing, how he corrected them.
I guarantee he did.
He did. And then he did try to fire my best guy, though. So I had to make him hire him back. But
okay.
But it was great. And it was just, but these
when kids, you know what you're doing?
Yeah. I mean, and it was hilarious. And it was great energy. It made everybody happy.
Do you know why? And you know why that's beautiful that you just brought that up in the context of what we're talking about? Because kids don't know any better. Because they haven't been given rules. Mm-hmm. They haven't been put inside a box. Yep. They haven't been told to stop being curious. They haven't been told to stop jumping off the couch. They haven't been told to stop doing these things, right? Because when you get to adults, you get these things banged out of you. And now you're scared to do things. You're scared to bring your child to work.
They just put it out there.
Kids. That's right.
Just put it out there.
So, and it was, I've learned so much from watching this little person.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're amazing. And it was so much fun. So I like that we're moving to, and not that you want to have kids in the workplace necessarily every single day, ever.
Oh, of course not.
But I do want to, I like to encourage companies to have a bring your kids to work day frequently, like once a month.
Once a month.
Have them come in there and hang out and see what comes of it. We actually came up with some creative ideas from the kids. Things that the kids said and did. We were going, oh, you know what? That makes me think of this. Let's try this on this and let's do this. One of them acted as our little receptionist when our receptionist had to go to the restroom. And she was 10 and she sat there with her little papers and everything and welcomed them and brought them coffee and all. It was so cute. And it's a really cool experience. And it does bring a certain energy. And for job seekers, look for companies that think of things like this or even suggest it. Go, if you're interviewing with the right kind of company, suggest benefits to them. Go, hey, have you thought of having a pet-friendly workplace? Have you thought of having a bring your kid to work day or paternity benefits, not just maternity benefits?
You know what's funny to that point right there? What's changed so much for me in the last year is when I ask about those benefits, I'm not gonna lie, and I try not to. But when I used to ask, honestly, when I used to work at these tech companies, when I worked at Amazon, I wanted to know about the ping pong table. I wanted to know about these other things. And now, I'm like, how cool would it be instead of investing in the ping pong and the gaming and all this, if you invested in buying that lunch for all the kids that you do have? How about investing in community? How cool would it be to build the community of your organization versus this is a place that's cool to be, so stay here for 15 hours a day.
Right. 100%. And I while I do appreciate the Google culture, as they call it, with all the, I do think that's great. And I like to have a very laid back. I've had employees that sat on the yoga balls instead of chairs, things like that. I'm very open to that. Plus it helps everybody be more comfortable at work and be more satisfied at work to express their individuality, to take care of their own needs.
Yep.
And you do want to encourage people to get up and move.
Yes.
So I like things that encourage that as well. However, you're right. people, candidates, as you're going through to cut through the BS, ask about the real benefits.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, great, you can do this and that, but what are the real benefits that you have for me? What's really, do you encourage PTO, or do you just have it there, but I'm not really supposed to use it, or else I'm going to get a dirty look from you?
Yes.
You know, because that's a big one.
Yes.
People will have PTO, but then tell you don't use it. It's like, what? But then why do we have it? Like, if I'm supposed to use it, why is it sitting there? That makes zero sense.
Yes.
0 cents. So
I love that.
Ask guys, what's the real situation here with the PTO?
You know, everything honestly is a negotiation. I don't know if you know this. Like, I mean this. I have had somebody negotiate down to the water that they would be receiving. I'm not kidding you. Okay.
Oh, I know.
And
I've had that too.
That's because he
not water,
because he knows everything's a negotiation. And he's like, you know what? If I'm gonna be, think about this, y'all. I'm gonna take this out. Think about this, y'all. Okay. You're gonna spend 8 to 10, maybe 12, 14 hours a day at this place. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They better think of a creative way to utilize your time. They better think of a creative way to describe what you're going to be doing in that job description.
Yep.
They better think of a creative way to keep you engaged. They better think, you know, like, and then, but then also you can think of a creative way for them to do that. And then you can tell them how you would like it.
100%. 100%. And another big one too, along the same subject, is don't let people trick you into taking a job that is micromanaging on the DL, because a lot of companies say they don't want to micromanage, and what they mean is they don't want to have to tell you talk to you every 5 seconds. That's what they mean.
But they have a tracker for your tracker.
Yes, but they're secretly tracking you and all that kind of nonsense. So when you go into an interview, stop and go, hey, how is the day-to-day management handled? Day-to-day, what is my interaction going to be like with my supervisor? And are these kinds of things tracked? For instance, as a recruiting manager, I've heard all this nonsense about, oh, you need to make this many calls, you need to send this many emails, this many LinkedIn connections.
Activity.
Do you know what I tell people? Fill your positions in a timely manner. The end. I don't care if you work 2 hours a day. Could not care less. You're gonna get paid the same, because it doesn't matter to me. I don't care.
Can you get in a plane and can you put that on the back of a thing and then go around the country and just
I know, just put on a rocket, like shoot it around and just go, come on.
God.
Come on.
There are days when I am just really efficient. And I get my 5 candidates that I know are 200% qualified. Mm-hmm. Now it's up to you to not mess this up. Here you go.
Well, right. Yeah. And I will say sometimes I'm like, with my clients, I'm like, how did you mess this up? They were so perfect. What's wrong with you? And guys, as a recruiter, please bear with us. We do have to deal with our clients too. And sometimes,
of course,
that's not so easy. Just remember, we're right there. We're right there. We're your advocates. So as we wrap up, what is your final piece of wisdom to candidates that are out there searching, struggling in this insane market right now? The market really is the craziest I've seen it since I started recruiting. What's your advice to everybody?
Yeah. So, everything is noise. Everything is noise. Everybody's getting noise. There's noise from everywhere right now. Mm-hmm. And you have to figure out a way to break through that noise. And you have to figure out a way to get a direct line of communication to the people you need to speak with. Yeah. To be brutally honest with you guys, applying for jobs is not going to do that. It's going to be a time suck, a big one. Now, if you're one of these people that's at one of these big schools and you've had these big names on your resume and you know how to do some keyword things, okay. But if you're not, there's like 85 target schools that these big name companies will look at and they'll put their ATS. So if you're not, then you need to do things differently. Engage. You've got to do research. This is going to take intentionality from you. This is going to mean that you need to figure out what jobs, what companies, and who it is that you need to be in front of, and then find them on LinkedIn and engage. And if they don't create content, find people in their network that does create content that they react to, because oftentimes people don't create content, but they like other posts. Find the posts that they're liking and then comment on those people's posts, and then they'll see your comment on those people's posts.
Engage.
But
Engage.
get creative and
Yes.
engage.
And I will throw
Use
out a
it.
couple more tips on that note real quick
Please do.
before we wrap up. Is number one, I had a candidate years ago who did this, and it was freaking genius. Sent out e-cards. Like, we have Mother's Day coming up, for instance. Sent out Mother's Day e-cards to like the top 7 people he wanted to interview with, top 7 companies. And it was just a beautiful e-card. At the very end, he just signed it, "Your candidate hopeful," with his name. Got
Yes.
4 interviews out of that.
Absolutely.
4, because it was creative. It was engaging. Called up and got that email address and just did it. The other thing that I want to say, guys, is he's absolutely right. When you target the companies that feed your passion, that feed your soul, that feed your mission, you will be more successful. Every single time in my job search when I was younger that I did that, it worked. It worked for me. And it's the same thing even for me getting clients nowadays. The concept just works. When you're fired up, when you're excited, it will spill out and they can't help but hire you. It's just true.
I talked about this yesterday, and real quick, most things with job seekers, y'all, it's not tool set. I guarantee you have the tool set. I talked about this yesterday. You do.
Yep.
And the reason is because if you're applying, why the hell are you applying for a job you're not qualified for? You're not. So you're qualified.
Hopefully.
Okay.
It does happen.
I mean, it does, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you
got the meat and potatoes.
That's right. So that means all you're missing out is the confidence. So when you press apply, you had better be confident. And if you are not confident when you press apply, I personally would not press apply, because that's just a waste of time, because you've already lost.
And why waste your time?
Qualified. So
100%.
have confidence in your abilities. Know that you can do it, and you can, because you can.
You can do it. All right, guys, that was a wonderful way to end the show. I want to thank you so very, very much for coming on. Everybody, please connect and follow Kevin. I dropped his link down in the comments. Is there any other way that you, or anything you want to promote real quick? Any way else you want them to reach out to you?
The only thing is, on Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific time, we have our anti-value show. It is no value. We just try to give you some laughs. We're called the Snark Squad. It's myself, Chelsea Robertson, and Jennifer Brick. We really just try to wrap up our Fridays, have some fun and laughs, and that's all.
I like that. That's a good, you know what? I like that. That's a cool way to end your week. That's really great. All right, guys. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
See you next week.
Thank you, everybody.
Easy.
Bye.